Good morning, everybody. Glad you guys are here with me. We're going to be doing a special video today. I normally don't do response videos, but this situation absolutely warrants a response video. So I'm doing a response video to really a few YouTubers that are in the raw food community, but really this is to the entirety of the raw food community in general. And so what I'm going to do today is basically kind of outline what I feel is wrong with the raw food community, especially in regards to, feeding your dog a raw food diet. So about a week ago, I got a call from my mom, and my mom basically was telling me that, hey, quick question for you. I know you feed your dog raw. My mom's aware that, I feed my dog raw, and she's also obviously very aware of my sustainability lifestyle. So she asked me, you feed raw. How do you know, how do you do it? How do you know the dog's getting everything they need, X, Y, and Z? And I said, well, it's funny you should mention that. I actually did a video on this. Why are you thinking about feeding your dog raw? And my mom's like, well, I've been thinking about it. And she's basically telling me that, she's been going to, she's subscribed, I guess you would say, to a lot of these groups on either Facebook, social media. She's looked at everything online, and something she's been thinking about. I know she has a pedigree black lab, and I know that she feeds the dog a very specialized kibble. But after she's been doing some of her own research, she thinks that she should feed raw. And it's funny because she's able to articulate all the reasons why. I mean, she has a lot of information, right? She can articulate all the reasons why we should feed raw and why the dry kibble industry is bad, and how they're out to profit and degradation of minerals and vitamins due to heat, and talking about the biology of how dogs are the ancestors of wolves. So she has all this propaganda talking points, so to speak, but she has no real fiscal information knowledge on how to feed raw. She knows what raw is, and she knows tips and tricks and the whole nine yards, but she doesn't know the most important basic building blocks of what it is to feed raw. And that's where her confusion was coming from. That's where almost a little bit desperate, like, I know this is what I want to do, but I don't know how to do it. I watch all these videos and I can't seem to get the answer. I know I need to feed my dog raw. I know that they have a minimum requirements, because everything has a minimum requirement. So let's just say that minimum requirement is 100. I know I got to get to 100, and I know these raw foods, when you add them together, should give you at least a minimum of 100. But I don't know what the numeric values are, and I don't even know the numbers that I'm adding up. And I told her I totally and completely understand her frustration. And as a son, you can see how this is frustrating, And I told her, so did you reach out to anybody? What did anybody say? And this is where this is what got me. She's reached out to people, and the idea is, hey, I totally understand. I went through the same thing too, but hey, here's this $60 supplement that'll last your dog 2-3 weeks. You just put that on top of the food, and it's kind of, it'll give them what they need. And if they don't, try this fish oil, try this glucosamine, try this, try that, try this chondroitin, try this MSM. Oh, you know what? You need to make sure that you have proper calcium phosphorus levels. Oh, try this. And so you have well, let's pay a bunch of money for a supplement game. And then you have the other people on the other side that are like, hey, you're in luck. Guess what I do for a living? I formulate dog food plans. So without ever meeting your dog, tell me about your dog. What's your dog's name? How old are they? Oh, that's so great. They're so cute. That's awesome. Okay, what's the activity level? Here, I just created this formula. I created this meal plan for you. Oh, by the way, if you want other meal plans with other proteins in it, that's going to cost you extra. Oh, you're not sure if you can source all this stuff? Perfect. It's okay. I have a friend, an affiliate for-profit business over here. I'll send them all the information, and then they will send you meals weekly to your house. All the guesswork is taken out of it. Congratulations. So obviously, when you see it from that, what is the raw industry currently, you can see how it can be very frustrating for a son who, lives a sustainable life, grows his own food, to be told from his mom, oh, by the way, I am trying to better myself, and I'm running into this pay to play paradigm. So yes, it was very truly frustrating. My mom has a full-grown black lab, as you can see here actually in this photo next to my ever-growing Mastiff puppy Kova. And so she really cares about her dog. She wants to make sure she's doing the right thing. And basically, with the information out there, I know for a fact is not that all that great and well detailed because I made my own video on this. So what I did was I understand that my mom has a dog that has a certain protein allergies. According to my mom, she's on a special kibble because she doesn't tolerate chicken and some other protein sources very well. And she wants to do raw, and from what everyone's telling her, she needs to do raw, but she doesn't know how to do it. And so I, encouraged her to watch my video and just tell me what she thought. Not, hey, this is what you need to do, mom, but just watch it. Tell me if it makes sense to you. Um, and after she did, she said it made perfect sense because there's no reason why this should be so complicated that a woman, strong, independent woman who raised multiple sons by herself, um, was able to feed us and give us the proper nutrition to sustain human life, to thrive, should she run into difficulty feeding a dog a raw food diet. It just that argument is just not coherent to me. But I understand because when you go online and you look at these videos, these basic videos or these raw food guides, you're going to see that there's going to be people that are going to give you this very generic template of, oh, feed raw, make sure you get bone, organ, muscle meat, make sure you do it in these approximate weights and ratios, and you'll be fine. You'll be all set to go. But you got to be very careful because if you do it wrong, you could really end up hurting your dog and you can get these deficiencies. But I can help you with that. Give me money and I'll create a plan for you. And I get it. Capitalism is great. Make your money, boo boo. But for people that are really wanting to learn, these people do a horrible job. So I kind of set out on a little mission of my own. So I started going to these channels that were advertising and doing videos on raw food dog diets, and I watched the content. Obviously, as you can tell, I wasn't too impressed with the content. But then I started doing a deeper dive into the comments, and in the comment section, I saw a recurring theme. I did see that people, anecdotally were saying, "Oh, raw has changed. My dog's diet is great." You have other people that say, "Okay, I'm starting to see these issues with." Gas, or I'm seeing these issues with stools or activity levels, etc. And then you see quite a few comments of people saying, okay, I know I need to feed raw. I understand the dry kibble is horrible. How do I know how much to feed my dog? How do I know my dog's getting the right nutrient requirements? How do I know they're getting the right calorie content, calorie profiles? How do I ensure that I'm doing this right? And those are all valid questions. They're all great. But you get a couple of response. Either you get no response from the content creator, or you get a response of try this product, insert product here, or they'll get a response of, well, that's funny you should ask that. My friend who is a part of this affiliate company or this website will actually can answer all your questions and formulate, a meal plan for you. Or ask your vet. Or, hey, guess what? You're in luck. I actually make meal plans. So tell me your dog's name, breed, weight. Do they have any food restrictions that you're aware of? Are they fixed? What's their activity level? Give me some money and I'll create some meal plans for you. So instead of empowering the viewer to actually understand what it is they need to understand and actually give them the information, the basic building blocks of nutrition, I see a lot of either no answer responses or responses advertising products or services, which, and you can imagine if you watch my channel or know me, it's pretty frustrating because, I'm here to watch a basic guide and instead you're selling me products. So I went to the industry experts And I asked them, how do they know that the food that they advocate for, the meals that they show online, are actually nutritious? I asked them why they never talk about caloric profile, nutrient density, biological value, the AAFCO guidelines and standards, or discuss the NRC. It's a very simple and honest question. How do you know that what you're presenting to the public is factual? This is what I got back. So first, we're going to talk about Jason Corey, YouTuber, has a dog named Bruce Wayne. Very pretty looking cane corso. Very likable dog, very likable guy. And so he did a video on a beginner's guide to feeding raw. And I asked him a few questions, and this is what I got back. So I started the conversation off asking him, hey, this video is supposed to be a starting guide, but you don't talk about caloric profiles, biological value, AAFCO, NRC. Was this done intentionally? Also, people can eat sushi. Pretty much he made a claim that people can't eat raw foods, which if you're from any minority class of people anywhere around the world, there's lots of examples of people eating raw food, but that's neither here nor there. He responded by snag, and then I basically told him, I like his channel because I do. He has some good content he puts on there, very entertaining. And I told him not trying to change his mind. Then I listed a preparedness video I did for Bruce Wayne just to give him some ideas. And I told him mad respect on calling out bad breeders, which I think is important. And then he responded, also go ahead, feed the dog raw salmon. You're most likely not feeding sushi grade, so have fun with that, bro. And so what I find disturbing about a comment like this is he's automatically, insinuating intention here. He doesn't know me. He knows nothing about me. But if he took just 2 seconds to go on my channel, he'd realize that not only do I produce the highest quality food that I can, but I raise my own food. I'm not the kind of guy that goes to the grocery store and depends on big agriculture to feed him and his family, his dog included. So I found that a little bit disturbing, but also goes to show just the character, the character argument that he's putting up here. So I basically told him, hey, love to respond to this. Basically told my situation that I live on a river and I can go outside and I can catch some of the best salmon in the nation, which is true. And then I told him about, a little bit about my heritage and asked him if he really knew what sushi grade meant. And then, I responded back that I'm merely asking for his thoughts on caloric profiles, NRC, biological value, AAFCO. And if he didn't have any comment, he could have just said so. Or if he had no idea, he could have just said so. Because, like he's insinuating in the title of the video states, a starter guide. But nothing about the building blocks of nutrition is mentioned. So, and I pretty much ended it with, I understand that he's a consumer and he's here to provide content, and my job is to listen. But, civil discourse I think is important. And, if you look at this video, this video has reached over 19,000 people. So people really take what he has to say seriously, which I have no reason for them not to. I'm sure he's putting content out there for people to take seriously. So the idea that we can't have, civil discourse and, ask a mere question about why didn't you include the basic building blocks of nutrition and how that is somehow, a means for him to, first off, not even mention or not even in his responses articulate that at all, but to go on the offensive and basically state that, I have no ability to, catch high quality fish or, raise high quality food without even knowing me. I think it's a bit ridiculous. So, for Mr. Jason out there, if you see this, like I said, I'm not asking you to go above and beyond, but you're putting out a lot of content to people, and, these are the basic building blocks. So I hope you do a video in the future, at least touching up on it, or I guess you could do a video response to this, and, we'll take it from there. So off to our next YouTuber. Next, I got to talk to the Toronto Dog Whisperer, and he did a DIY video on raw food diets for his dog, and there's a lot here, so I'm going to break down his argument into 7 different bulletins. The first one he says is variety is key. Next, he says things will somehow sort themselves out. Third, there's no way to know the caloric profile of raw food. Four, this is a basic guide. Knowledge of the aforementioned is not necessary. Five, the proportions he mentions, muscle, meat, organs, and bones, is widely acceptable as well balanced and complete, so don't ask any more questions. Six, he's done years of research and has had a dog nutrition on his channel. Seven, maybe I should just stick to kibble, but also check out my latest video on raw. So my response in numeric order: one, variety is great, but if you don't meet the minimum requirements, it doesn't matter. Two, things don't automatically sort themselves out. We have to ensure that correct nutrient values are there. Three, for humans, we can certainly get the approximate percentage numeric values for nutrient density, calories, and biological values. Four, knowing the aforementioned values should be factored into basic knowledge of dog nutrition. Five, widely acceptable does not mean adequate. It means a lot of people do it. Six, years of research and talks with professionals doesn't help your dog day to day if you can't ensure proper values of nutrition are met. Seven, nah, bro, I'll keep raising and growing my own food. What I do agree with him on is, yes, buying meat from a store is problematic, especially if you don't know the breed. There's huge differences in values between Jersey cow and a Hereford cow or Dexter cow, or Cornish cross chicken and a Sussex chicken, or between a Berkshire pig and a Cooney pig, which goes to further bolster the idea we need to ensure minimum requirements are met. And like I said before, this is not a, oh, I got you moment. This is just, let's have a candid conversation and let's just be logical and realistic with what we're talking about. But let's go ahead, take him up on his offer, and go look at his latest raw video. So in his latest raw video, he makes really 4 points. One, supplements give your dogs, quote, nice things, and raw eggshells have, quote, good stuff in them. Number two, supplements aren't necessary. Three, widely acceptable proportions are key: organ meat, muscle meat, bones. And four, there's no calorie counts for dog food, raw or processed. My response to him is supplements do give your dogs nice things, and they can be very helpful, especially when your dog's food is nutrient deficient. Two, if supplements aren't necessary, why are we using them? Three, does it not worry you that you can't say with any degree of certainty what the numeric values of the food you're feeding your dogs? Number four, the AAFCO specifically includes minimum calorie requirements for nutrient density, and I left him a link below. Now, there are good things that he mentioned in this video. Number one, I agree, cost should not be relevant for overall health. Two, the cost for raw is definitely cheaper than traditional commercial foods. And three, an actual balanced and complete raw diet is better than commercial kibble. So while I don't agree with him on a lot of things, I do believe his heart's in the right place, and there are things that I do agree with him on. I wish him the best of luck. Now, on to our next YouTuber. Here we have Feeding Raw 101. He's a more top-heavy YouTuber in regards to the raw diet community. He talks about a myriad of different topics and discussion items. He has a lot of content on his YouTube. He did a video on prey versus barf, and I was able to interact with him in the comment section. He purports that most dogs will require supplementation because it's nearly impossible to source everything your dog needs for a complete and balanced diet. Two, he absolutely agrees that balancing a diet based upon the NRC and AAFCO standards is a good thing and that he does it in his personal life. Three, he states his channel is for beginners and it's better to get people to switch to raw first than worrying about overwhelming them with the facts of what good nutritional diets are. And four, he purports that I have not watched all his many videos. My response to him is supplements aren't necessary, but you do owe it to your dog to supplement them if you're going to give them a nutrient deficient diet. Number two, I think it's great that in his personal life he does formulate dog foods to the NRC and AAFCO standards. Three, I think it's a huge disservice to advocate for a diet while withholding important knowledge and information because you don't feel like your viewership is either smart enough or capable enough to do it right. Four, he's right. I have not watched all his videos, but the ones I have watched, I have not seen any mention of the aforementioned. I asked him if he could provide any links to a video where he has talked about the AAFCO, the NRC, nutrient density, caloric profiles, or biological value. As of to date, he has not referenced any of his videos. I hope he does make a video in the future for his viewership. And the good takeaways from this conversation is I did appreciate him giving me the pet name Pumpkin. That shows that he really cares about me as a person. Also, I do appreciate the fact that he is aware of the NRC and the AAFCO, even though he makes no mention of it in any of his videos previous, nor does he talk about nutrient densities or caloric profiles or biological value. The fact that he's aware of it is a good thing. The next YouTuber we're going to take a look at is Shuree G, and not because she is a YouTube raw food channel, but because when you YouTube raw food or raw food diets for your dog, her channel is going to pop up, her video is going to pop up. This video has over 42,000 views, a lot of comments, and in this video she makes what she considers to be a raw food diet based upon the prey model. And so the reason why I think it's so important to talk about this channel in particular is really this video, because this is the crux of what it is that I'm talking about when we're talking about getting bad information on YouTube, or getting bad information from somebody that's purporting to have a good diet for your dog. Okay? And the crux of her video and what she's really stating is two things from when I interacted with her. What she's saying is she knows that the food that she's feeding her dog, this diet, is nutrient complete. And she says, and she admits that she's never looked at the nutrient density, and she has no idea what the nutrient density is, but the diet is complete. She also states that if you want more details, or if I want more details, that I need to contact a commercially available raw diet business that sells pre-made raw food. My argument to that, you don't know if your diet's complete if you don't know the makeup of your diet, plain and simple. And two, you should know what you're feeding your dog, and asking a business that sells pre-made raw food doesn't help at all. Now, the goods, she's transparent. I really appreciate the transparency, absolutely. The bad, this is extremely dangerous for your dog, and I told her, in fact, that this is extremely dangerous. So that's why I chose this particular video. Last but certainly not least is we have Kimberly. Now, I just want to say off the bat, Kimberly is a pioneer. She's an activist of the raw food movement. She's a big deal. There's no doubt about that. Her mission statement: to inspire pet parents to think outside the bag and question the status quo by providing a non-judgmental space where it is safe to ask stupid questions. Kimberly is a blogger, author, speaker, activist of the raw movement, like I said. She has many certifications, one being pet food nutrition certification. The second one is raw dog food nutrition certification. The third is acute canine herbalism. Like I said, she has many books, many speaking engagements, blogging. She even has one of her latest articles is on how to prepare your dog for the pandemic, how to prepare. So she's obviously really in the movement and really cares about her dogs and your dog as well. So in this conversation we had, it was a long dialogue that we had, but I really want to break it down into a few discussion points here. So like I've asked everybody, my only real question: how do we ensure that our dog's diet is nutrient complete? Her response: many people over supplement, herself included in the past, but supplements do have a part in a diet, especially since food sources are not always available. Now, to be honest with you, I completely agree. I think that if you're going to feed your dog a nutrient deficient diet, you owe it to them to make it up with some kind of supplementation. Her next question, or the next response in regards to the AAFCO and NRC guidelines, she's wishy-washy. At this point in time, I actually do not know what her actual stance on it is. She first stated that the guidelines were created with commercial dry foods in mind, and she does not believe that the science is correct, and she does not trust the science of the NRC. She then goes to state that she has created a workbook that tracks her dog's nutrient density and profiles, and they are based upon the NRC. And then she later goes on to states that she doesn't disagree with the NRC because she's never actually read it. So how that makes sense at all, I have no idea. Maybe when you guys can explain it to me, maybe if she sees this, I'm obviously going to send this video to all the YouTubers that were involved in the creation of it. Maybe they can explain to me what she means, but don't take my word for it. Honestly, I'll link all the channels below. Go watch the videos. You can read what her comments state, and maybe you can tell me what she's trying to say there. I have no idea. I don't even know how to respond to that. She states that she believes you can attain a balanced diet through variety. Again, we see this variety theme. What does that mean? I agree, variety is great, but if we don't know what the markers are, if we don't know what the numeric values of density that we're looking for, how is that balanced? You can't just say, well, I'm feeding a bunch of stuff, that's how I know it's balanced. That makes no sense. I think it's great if you want to use a variety of different foods to make up that numeric value of nutrient completeness, taking biological value into mind. that is great. If you want to do it using the least amount of food sources, I think that's great as well, as long as we are getting those requirements. But again, these words, they mean nothing without having actual values behind them. She then goes on to state something we've seen already. What raw feeder has time, money, and the resources to ensure they are meeting the minimum requirements set forth by the NRC and AAFCO? Well, I can tell you, I don't have as much time as most people. I definitely don't have as much money as most people. And as far as resources go, I have spotty internet at best. But somehow I'm able to ensure, using math, science, reason, that my dogs are getting the right nutritional density and profiles. There's applications for this. There's lots of resources available to ensure that you can look up the nutrient density of the foods that you're feeding and see what they are and compare that to the already available science. It's not very difficult. If you look at my video, I show you how to do it. So if a country bumpkin like me in the middle of nowhere can figure it out, I'm pretty sure, especially somebody like her, which it sounds like she already has, and people that have the ability to type in basic numbers can figure it out as well. She then states that her dogs have been tested and the blood work is fine. I have no reason to disagree with that. I mean, obviously she cares about her dogs a lot, and I truly believe that she is making up whatever deficiencies there are with supplementation. She then goes on to say there's not one way to feed your pet. Like I said, I completely agree. I don't care how you feed them. Just make sure that based upon the requirements that they're getting at least the bare minimum of what they need. She then states that I should start engaging people by asking questions. Okay, I thought that's what I was doing. She then states that no one knows what she feeds her dog, and I don't have the qualifications to tell her otherwise. Again, this goes back to what I've been saying the entire time. I truly hope that most of the foods and meals that these YouTubers are showing us online are actually not what they're feeding their dog, because by plugging in the ingredients of what they're feeding, you can clearly see that it is deficient. So I hope to God, for a lot of what I'm seeing online, that they are not actually feeding her dogs that. And I can only agree with what she's saying. She says no one knows what she feeds her dogs. I don't have the qualification to tell otherwise. You're right. I do not know what you're feeding your dog, because I hope what you're showing online is not actually what you're feeding your dog. She then states that I'm trolling and that people have been sending her screenshots. Well, this goes back to the status quo issue. This goes back to the status quo problem. I'm asking these experts a simple question. How do we ensure nutrient density? But if you realize, if you actually show people how to do it logically, it's very simple, and you're going to be losing a revenue stream. It's just what it comes down to. You're not going to be able to pay people that have never met your dog before to be able to formulate these dog foods that they are doing based upon the NRC and AAFCO. No matter what it comes down to, I mean, that's what these people are doing. And I think that's clear at this point. But you got to pay for that information. Okay, it's a secret. You can't have it. She then states that she gets emails all the time for people wanting to learn about the science, but she can't help them. Again, she has no problem. She just did an article on the coronavirus and how to prepare your dog in this pandemic. I mean, she has no problem doing speaking arrangements, lots of videos, hundreds of videos, lots of vlogs, lots of articles on everything from dog science, veterinarian, when to see your vet, the coronavirus even, like I said. So she has no problem giving out scientific information, and she has no problem giving you all this advice. But somehow, like I said, read the comment. She says that people are wanting to learn about the science, but she can't help them. I don't know what this whole website that she's doing is it's for then, to be honest with you. Then she refers to me as, that's the problem with your group. I should focus on my channel, and I should share information on my channel. Well, I am, and I have, and I will continue to do so. Now, I will leave this on a good note, okay? She absolutely does care about her dogs. She realizes that through her spreadsheets modeled after the AAFCO and NRC that her dog diet is deficient sometimes, I guess, and to ensure a balanced diet, she adds supplementation. You can go to her Amazon store page and you can buy supplements that she gives. She has lots of information on supplements that you can buy, and even ways to save some money on supplements. Like I said, I'm sure that's a great revenue stream. She produces very entertaining and easy to follow content. I think that's great. I think that's important. And she has experts on to share their thoughts and opinions. Again, I think that's outstanding. I think that we should be able to have these thoughts, opinions, and be able to share them in a great space. Literally, you can see here, her mission statement is to inspire pet parents to think outside the bag and question the status quo by providing a non-judgmental space where it is safe to ask stupid questions. Well, if that is not what I'm doing right now, I don't know what is. I'm literally asking, how do we ensure that our pets' diets are nutrient complete? How do we do that? And I'm starting to realize a recurring theme. You have these raw food activists in this movement that are extremely smart, extremely knowledgeable, have all the certifications, go and post blogs, articles, go and speak in front of hundreds, thousands of people, touch people in all facets of life. But when you ask them, how do I ensure the nutrient density? Well, let me tell you, you can purchase this from my store. You can go to my friend who makes dog diet plans for your dog. You can do this, you can do that. Now, I'm not at all pointing intent, but I'm saying I'm starting to really notice a theme here. And from what people have reached out to me and have already told me, be careful, millennial prepster. This is a pay to play industry, and I'm really starting to believe it. And by what we can see here, what these different YouTubers have been telling us, I'm starting to agree. But not everybody is this way. I have to give kudos to where kudos is deserved. So the last thing I'm going to mention about Kimberly, she posted an article recently, and the article states, if push comes to shove, buy kibble. And what she's talking about is if you're running the risk of running out of raw food, to buy a quality kibble. She initially states, you know what I mean, buy a quality kibble, but then she states that she doesn't buy kibble herself, but if she were to buy a kibble, she would ask for recommendations from her local pet store. And I found that confusing for the following reasons. First reason being that she doesn't trust the science behind the AAFCO and the NRC, the governing bodies that accredit the commercial dog food industry. Two, she doesn't trust the marketing of the commercial pet food industry. Three, the amount of time and energy she's put into doing raw diets and advocating for raw diets seems a bit questionable as to why she would recommend all of a sudden a dry kibble diet. Four, the fact that she purposefully avoids kibble for many reasons that she's outlined in previous videos and will continue to outline on her channel. And lastly, the fact that she is certified and holds accredited certificates in the field of dog nutrition and canine herbalism, has a whole channel dedicated to dog nutrition, has interviewed some of the biggest names in the dog nutrition arena, writes articles on dog nutrition, and openly speaks about dog nutrition at various conferences such as the Seattle Dog Expo, the World Camp Press. She's also a published author that teaches people how to feed their dog. Given her accomplishments, training, and experience, I find it mind-boggling that she would not only make this statement, but choose a kibble based upon the recommendations of a local pet store and the fact that she would do so nonchalantly. While there are some mysteries that we'll just probably never solve or understand, I don't want this to undercut the fact that she's very passionate about her dogs. She takes very good care of them, and she does produce a lot of content and a lot of good content. So I don't want this to undercut all the goods that she does, has done, and will continue to do. But that's not to negate the very confusion of somebody like myself or yourself trying to circumnavigate this arena of dog nutrition. And I have to give kudos to the Husky Squad. They are a YouTube dog vlogging channel. They talk about their Siberian Huskies. They talk about training. They talk about homemade diets. They kind of do a little bit of everything, and I have a lot of respect for them. So they did a video on making homemade dog food, and from the beginning they were transparent about nutrient profiles and diet completeness. They stated in the introduction that this video was going to show them making dog food, and this was not going to be a complete dog food, nutritionally speaking, and I thought that was absolutely outstanding. The video had great advice about making a homemade dog diet. It provided tips and tricks that work for them that I thought was great. It was a good informational video. They were extremely transparent. They do a dog nutrition course they sell for $130. Overall, I have to give them kudos. They did not pretend to be something that they weren't, and they did not shy away from the tough questions by pretending that nutrient profiles and densities either don't exist or that it's too difficult for their viewership to learn. So, like I said, outstanding, and they're very cordial and professional. in the comment section. Husky Squad, awesome job, guys. So here are the takeaways that I want everybody to get that's watching this video. The first takeaway is I think that nutrient density, caloric profiles, the NRC, the AAFCO, and biological values are super important. I believe that they're the building block and basis for dog nutrition and all nutrition at that. These should be factored into your dog's diet, just like we factor them into our diets. It's no different, just like we factor them into livestock diets. 4-H, for example, they have great literature on a myriad of different animals, breeds, and species. There are 4-H profiles, there are literature set up where a 4-H child can take a Kuni pig, for example, and everything that pig needs nutritionally has already been formulated. The diets have already been through a caloric profile, a nutrient density analysis, and literally a 4-H child can take these equations and they can take this literature and they can determine and estimate how quickly that pig will grow and at what age and what stage that pig should be based upon the diet they're feeding and how old that animal is. So the idea that children in grade school are able to do this and the fact that this information is out there gives me complete confidence that you guys out there can formulate a healthy, complete, homemade food for your dog. I have complete faith. Like I said, if the 4th grader in 4-H can do it with their livestock animals, there's no reason why a smart, independent adult can't do the same for their dog. Next, I want to say that there are 1,000 different ways to feed your pet, but we should all agree that we need to be feeding at least the minimum requirements. That should be a necessity. So I'm not trying to tell you how to feed your dog, what to feed your dog, but what I am saying is you owe it to your dog to give them the basic requirements that they need to be healthy and happy. And you can do that using whatever recipe you want to use. 3, widely acceptable does not mean adequate, okay? This whole idea that, this prey model or barf diet, if anybody just tells you, hey, all you got to worry about is getting 80%, 80% muscle meat, 10% bone, 10% organ meat, and you're fine. That is ridiculous, okay? Just because it's widely acceptable does not make it nutritionally complete or adequate. Next, an actual balanced and complete raw diet, I do believe, is better than a commercial kibble. Now, are there great, high-quality commercial kibbles out there? Yes, there are, okay? Are there dogs that have eaten nothing but a high-quality commercial kibble and have lived long lives? Yes, there are. But do I believe that an actual well-balanced, complete raw diet is better? I do. And so I think it's important that, I don't disparage those that feed dry kibble. I don't disparage those, obviously, that feed raw. But I do believe that there is that if we go about the raw diet, we should go about it properly. Next, this information is not difficult for the average person to get right and to master, no matter what these supposed experts will say. The idea that this information that I'm explaining to you is somehow too overwhelming for you to make a right decision or for you to do it right, I think is ridiculous. And I think anybody that would take that stance that, we can't give them all the information because we don't want to overwhelm them, I think that it's very, I just think it's wrong. I think it's disturbing. I think it's messed up. How about that? I think that the idea that one's viewership is not able or smart enough or capable enough to handle, making and formulating their own dog food, and they require experts that have never met their dog and never will meet their dog to formulate a dog food for them. I think it's a slap in the face, quite honestly. I'm just going to be honest with you. So this idea that you don't have what it takes to get it right, I think it's sad, and I think that I think we shouldn't think that way. Next, I think variety is great. I think a variety is a great way, to meet the requirements that you need for your dogs. But first and foremost, the most important thing is knowing what those minimum requirements are. So I think variety is great, but I also think that simple meals are good too. You know, I think if you can get the same, nutritional density in simple meals, I think that's great too. So, I don't want to disparage those that go for simple meals versus, a variety meal. As long as you're meeting the prerequisites and as long as you're meeting that nutrient density, I think that's important. Okay. I think there's no reason why a strong, independent woman who's raised multiple boys into strong men can't formulate a nutrient complete dog food meal at home. And this just goes back to what I've been saying. Don't be disparaged, and don't disparage people because you feel like they're not capable. Um, I, like I said, I think it's ridiculous. Next, this response video is not meant to be an I got you video. My goal and my hope is that people who are putting out these raw diet videos incorporate the basic building blocks of dog nutrition: caloric profiles, nutrient densities, the AAFCO, the NRC, and biological values. Even if it means that everyone mentioned in this video comes out with their own response videos to me, as long as we're talking about it, I think that's super important. Because obviously, from what you can see here, these people that are making these videos, they don't agree on everything. You have one person stating that the AAFCO and the NRC are not applicable, and you have another person that's stating it absolutely is applicable, and I make sure that my dog food is formulated every single day. You have another guy that's not even mentioning the AAFCO, completely doesn't even want to talk about it. You have another person that doesn't even think that it's possible to find what the calorie count of raw food is. So you have all these different variances in training and experience. You have many people that just they don't agree. They agree on that we should feed raw, but as far as the hard math, the values, they don't agree at all. So I think it's obvious by looking at this that not everyone thinks the same, but yet they're all putting out a raw food diet that's supposedly the best for your dog, and this is what we're left with. So yeah, I think it's super important to ask these questions and to get conversating, get talking about this, because the more people out there that are talking about this, the more it's going to force it into the limelight, and it's going to force conversations to have, and that can only go to benefit man's best friend. It can only go to benefit the ones we love the most. At the end of the day, I think it's all about transparency. I did this video for the great mothers and fathers of the world. Honestly, that is what this video is all about. My mother simply wanted to know what the basics of dog nutrition are. Well, what is dog nutrition? And quite frankly, there doesn't seem to be a lot of free resources available out there. This is a woman who raised boys to men, and she obviously was able to do it quite adequately, if you ask me. And obviously there's a lot of people that are aware of the science behind the NRC and the AAFCO, but few are willing to provide simple and complete yet free templates for the public, which is fine. Nobody is stating that any one person is obligated to use their own precious time to create, actual templates. What I don't appreciate, though, is I don't appreciate the lack of transparency, and I don't appreciate what I see as, the initiation of trying to take advantage of somebody. Okay? And, if I'm seen as a troll for doing what Kimberly states to do in her mission statement and question the status quo, then so be it. Like I said, it's all about transparency. I respect the channels that are at least transparent and recognize that nutrient density is a real thing and it needs to be addressed, even if it means, hey, this is a real thing, it needs to be addressed. There's this really thick book called the NRC. You can read it if you want. If not, I can formulate a plan for you. Or, hey, I have this dog nutrition course that'll break everything down at this price. You know what? At least I can appreciate transparency and honesty. What I think is ridiculous is when we have people out there, and I think we've already demonstrated that very clearly in this response video, who think that the idea of teaching somebody how to feed a dog properly will be overwhelming. It's too much. They're not smart enough. They're not capable enough. They don't have the time. They don't have the money. They don't have the resources
So it requires me to sell them a supplement or to give them the meal plans that they need. Come on, really? Let's get real. You know, I'm actively involved in my 4-H community, and I have fourth graders that can take a livestock animal based upon the templates that are already there, you know, the literature that already exists, okay, and they can tell you exactly how much their pig's supposed to weigh at 16 weeks, given the caloric profile and nutrient density of the food that they're feeding. Literally, they can tell you every step of the way where their pig should be from the time it's born to the time of harvest. So the idea that a fourth grader can look at that and not only look at that and tell you where the animal should be, but tell you if my pig is not at this weight, I should do X, Y, and Z, or it's probably for this reason. The fact that they can tell you why and they can tell you what they're going to do to mitigate or to troubleshoot, you know, to troubleshoot that just goes to show that this is not impossible. You know, the fact that we are looking at this any differently than we would any other animal just seems completely ridiculous to me and absurd. So, like I said, at the end of the day, I'm doing this for the mothers and fathers of the world that they just want clear answers. They just want honesty. They just want transparency. So that's who I'm doing this for. You know, I hope that I hope everyone can understand that's the whole purpose for this video. Like I said, I'm going to leave links to everything in the description box below, so I highly encourage you guys to take a look at this yourselves. If you guys, like the video, leave me a like. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the, comment section below. If you are a part of this video response, and obviously I would say, tell me what you like, but tell me what you don't like. Tell me what I got wrong. Tell me why we shouldn't look at nutrient density. Tell me why the standards set forth by the AAFCO and NRC are not complete, or tell me why it's junk science. You know, I'm really interested to hear the opinions of those that are clearly the experts. So that's all I have for you guys. Hope you guys liked the video.
And if you're wanting to learn how to feed your dog raw, check out my video, The Prepper Dog, Episode 2, Ultimate Guide for Feeding Raw. It'll break everything down, everything you need to know on how to find caloric profiles, making sure you have the right nutrient density, making sure your dog has everything it needs, and also taking into account biological value. Highly encourage you guys to take a look at that video. Hope you guys have a great day, and as always, long live the Republic.